Hello, my name is Jim Hemingway. I created the poster you see behind me. I call them Pro Football Dashboards recently, and I'd like to tell you about them. What they are, they're designed to be basically a 50-year statistical history of a team, all on a poster. So let's take a look. We have 6 images, as you can see, and I'll walk through each one of them before we start to drill in. Top left, we have what I call the personnel chart. Below that, team season and scoring summary. In the middle, we've got offensive and defensive metrics. And on the right, we've got first-round draft picks and their subsequent performance, and Pro Bowl players for each season. So let's start with the personnel. So across the top, these are the seasons starting in 1966, going all the way to 2014, the last year we have data. And then, and by the way, that's the same data period for all the charts. In the top, we have the coaches, the head coaches, color-coded. You know, here's the last one: Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, Parcells, etc. QBs, color-coded. Running backs, same, and then stadiums. For the Patriots, they've played at a number of different stadiums, which actually way more than most teams. You can see Foxborough here in red. It was called Schaefer Stadium, and then Sullivan, and then finally Foxborough, and now they're in Gillette. So more for nostalgia purposes there. Down at the bottom, we see what I call this is the season and scoring summary. So the red, we've got 5 different pieces of information here. The red lines tell you how many regular season wins the Patriots had. The blue, the gray column and blue column tells you how many playoff games the Patriots played in and then won. The gray is the games played, the blue is the victories. And then down below here, we see some green, some red, and some blue. The green is points scored by the offense. The red is points allowed by the defense. And then you'll notice that there's like a green pastel range and a pink pastel range. Those ranges are the range of league values for the same metric for the season. So, for example, in 1966, the Patriots scored 315 points. That was about midway of all the teams in the league that year. The worst team scored 200, and the best was a little over 4. With defense, same thing, except you want to be high on the list rather than low because the point axis is negative there. So, and then the blue column shows the net of those two, just the differential. So, obviously, above 0 is better. The higher, the better. One thing you see the Patriots that's noteworthy, they're the team that holds the record for the greatest point differential ever, 315 points in 2007, and they managed, as you all know, to lose the Super Bowl that year to the Giants, despite having the best offense and nearly the best defense in the league. Also on the playoff summary, you can see there's a little text box that describes what exactly happened that year. But you notice that the Patriots were bad for the first decade or so of this time period and then got better. But we'll get into why. It has to do with the draft picks because they did quite well in the 70s. But let's move to the middle here and look at the offensive and defensive metrics. So in each, for offense, we have 4 metrics: yards per game, net yards per pass attempt, percent pass plays, and going forward on 4th down percentage. For defense, we have defensive yards per game, yards per carry, net yards per pass attempt, sack ratio, and turnovers. And on each one of those metrics, we have a blue line, which shows you what the Patriots did. And then the green and pink pastel column that shows the range of values for the league, similar to what we saw earlier, showing you where the Patriots were relative to the rest of the league. The green part means teams that were better than average. The pink part means teams that were below average. So you can see what's interesting for the Patriots is how the quarterback. You can see I've got the quarterback legend here, these different color boxes, which was brought over and compressed from the QB legend, superimposed here. So you can see, for example, the light green was Steve Grogan, quarterback from 75 through maybe 84. So net yards per pass attempt, as you know, is the core of the passer rating and shows you basically a quick and dirty evaluation of that quarterback. So you can see when Steve Grogan was a quarterback, did better than average. When Plunkett had been the quarterback, they were bad, and historically they were bad. Tony Eason, same way, he was a little bit above average. Then they get into some of the guys like Doug Flutie, Mark Wilson, Hugh Millen, and they had poor performance. The dark brown was Drew Bledsoe. You can see when he came in, he got them sort of back to middle of the pack. And then Brady is the light brown here. And so Brady started off here, and as you know, quite a successful career. And he's consistently in the top half of the league. But what you can see is here's the coaching legend. The light purple or the lavender is Bill Parcells. You can see a couple things that happened when Bill Parcells came to town. You can see he goes for it a lot on 4th down. If you look at this chart, so the Patriots were always the highest in the league there. He also likes to throw the ball. You can see that when he came in, they were throwing the ball 48% of the time. He came in, they started throwing it much more. They got up close to the top of the league. And then now Belichick has come in, Carroll came in, and Belichick came in, and they're more or less in the middle of the pack. Now let's move over to, before we move over, one thing. You can see here the correlation of, here's net yards per pass attempt. Notice in 1989 how the Patriots really deteriorated quite rapidly on that metric, and the yards allowed got worse. And what that's related to, if you notice up on pass plays here on offense, so the team has to start throwing the ball a lot more because they're behind in games. So that's one case where the poster allows you to see some of the stats correlated with each other. Now going to the right, let's look at the draft picks that I referenced and Pro Bowl players. So now the season on the season is a row, and the x-axis is the number of games played in the player's career. So you can see starting in 1973, they drafted 3 players that year: Sam Cunningham, John Hanna, Darryl Stingley. 74 they got nothing because they probably traded those picks away. 75, 76, 77, also very good years. And if you added them all up, they basically got 9. I think they got 9 players who collectively played 1,400 games in their NFL careers, which is just astounding. So that influx of quality was what drove the Patriots from being a really bad team early on to finally in the late 70s finally starting to win some games. You can see as time goes on, they have pretty good draft success with a lot of other players. In fact, the Patriots have some of the best first-round picks of any team. Dropping down to the Pro Bowl players, the draft picks that we just mentioned, those guys start appearing in the Pro Bowl selection starting in 1976. Russ Francis, John Hanna, Mike Haynes, Sam Cunningham, those guys, they go from getting nobody in the Pro Bowl for the first half of the 70s to getting several players in, having a strong presence. And you can see that the Patriots, aside from that one drought, have had, 6, 7, 8 Pro Bowl players typically in a season throughout the rest of their history. And now, we're into the Tom Brady, Wes Welker, Stephen Gostkowski era. So that's a Pro Football Dashboard. The Patriots have a lot of interesting information here, and so I'm hoping you find that interesting. So if you want to learn more, go out to my website, profootballdashboards.com, all one word and plural, profootballdashboards.com. So you can take a look at the other samples. If you have any questions, you can email me at pfdinfo@comcast.net. Thanks a lot.